Okay, so I'm going to do the loop stitch on Sinead, which is the KE4B abbreviation. It was a new one to me when I started it. It is going to be a long video, so just bear with me. Okay, so I've only got a swatch here. I'm not doing the full because I need to do all the rows. So I've knit my 4 rows in stocking stitch, which you have to do after the rib. And then the first instruction is knit 1. That's easy enough. And then it's KE4B, and you repeat that across the row until you get to the last stitch. Or the abbreviation for KE4B is work 1 elongated stitch by inserting the needle into the space between the 2nd and 3rd stitch from the last one you worked. So from this one, 4 strands below. So I'll do that first. So count 2 stitches in, 1, 2, and then go 4 strands below. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's why you have to do the 4 stocking stitch rows to start off with. You don't need to do them again once you've done it. So you put your needle in that, you pull it, and you pull it up. Now you need to make sure that this stitch is not too tight and is not too loose. Yeah, both are bad. So I normally pull it, and then I put my thumb there to hold it when I'm doing my next stitch, because otherwise if you don't do that, when you do your next stitch, you're pulling on that loop and you're going to make it small again. So I pull it to make it longer, put my thumb there to hold it, and then the next instruction is wrap yarn over needle, pull through, which I've done through creating the elongated stitch, knit the next 4 stitches. Oh, she says losing both. Okay, so knit the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you can see that's looped like that. Don't worry if this looks as though it's pulling down, it will do, but once you've done the 4 rows of the pattern, it stretches itself out again. Let me show you the pattern that I've done on the front. So this is the pattern, and mine all looked as though they were too tight, and then once you do the 3rd row, it all just drops down into place. So I've knit 4 stitches, and then work 1 elongated stitch by inserting the needle into the same place as for the previous elongated stitch. So that's making this V. So I've just done this one, and I'm now going to be doing this one here. So put your needle into that stitch again, into the same place that you put your last one, wrap it round and pull it through. Now you do need to be careful of a few things when you're doing that. You need to be careful not to lose any stitches off this needle. It can happen. And make sure that your loop again is long. So you pull it. What I have to do with this one is easier to pull. This one, I just give it a little pull with the needle. And again, you need to sort of hold that when you're doing the next bit. Now that's the first KE4B, and you repeat that all the way along the row. So I'm going to go 4 strands below, so between the 2nd and 3rd stitch, 4 strands below from the one I've previously knit, which is this one. So 1, 2, and then 4 strands below. It's into the same place as you did the last one, but you've just moved along a bit. Pull it in and pull your stitch through. Now you can see what I mean about them they look really uneven, but that will all fix itself when you get to row 3. Put my thumb there to hold it, knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the elongated stitch into the same place that you've done it before. Give that a little pull to make it. You can see even there it's sort of stretched itself out a little bit. And then that's the next KE4B, so we're doing the next one. So 1, 2, and then 4 strands below. You do get to the point where you can see where that is, and it does become a lot easier as you go along. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go into the same space. Pull it out a little bit. Go in, so now we're we're doing the next K4B. I've sometimes, as I've been doing it, have forgotten to do the next one. You're literally doing 2 together at this point. So 1, 2, down you go, and pull it through. Knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In there, pull it through. We've done that. We've now done the K4B all the way along the row, and we're just going to knit 1 now. So hold that to make it so you're not going to pull it tight, and knit your stitch. So there's your first row completed. As I say, it doesn't look right. It looks as though it's all pulled up, but it does fix itself. So the next row says purl 1. Again, that's nice and easy. So purl 1. And then it says slip 1 purl ways, purl 4, slip 1 knit ways. Now it's important you're slipping the elongated stitch. Yeah, you don't knit that, or you don't knit it at all. It doesn't count as a stitch, so if you're decreasing, it doesn't count as a stitch. I am going to do a video to show you how to cast off with the elongated stitch on the row before you cast off. So you're slipping that one as if you're going to do it purl wise, so it's that way, and then it's purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you don't lose that loop as you do it, and then the next one is to slip it knit ways. So this is the left leaning loop, elongated stitch, so you slip that knit ways, and then you've got straight into a slip 1 purl ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip 1 knit ways, slip 1 purl ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip 1 knit ways, slip 1 purl ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip 1 knit ways, and then pull the last stitch. So that's our second row done. Yeah, and again, it still looks as though it's pulled a little bit, but this is where it will all fix itself and work out right. So row 3 is knit 1, and then SKPO, knit 2, SPPO, and the SKPO is, well, I'll do it as I go. So let's do it. So knit 1, and then it's SKPO. So the instruction for SKPO says pass the needle through the elongated stitch and pull through the next stitch. Slip this stitch back onto the left needle and knit this stitch. So pass the needle through the elongated stitch. So you can see there's my elongated stitch next. I'm going through that stitch. I'm taking the next stitch off the needle, putting it back on the needle. Yeah, so my elongated stitch has now dropped down. Yeah, and then I knit it. Okay, and then it's knit 2, and then SPPO. So SPPO is pass the elongated stitch over the next stitch and knit this stitch. That's fairly straightforward and fairly easy. So there's my elongated stitch. I'm passing it over the stitch. Normally you would pass the stitch over that way, but we're doing it a different way. I won't say the wrong way because it's not wrong, it's right. And then you knit that stitch. Okay. So, and there's your elongated stitch again has dropped down, and you can see straight away that it's not puckered anymore, it's dropped down. So I'll do it again, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut for doing this first, the SKPO. So put your needle through the loop into the next stitch on your needle, pull it off, and then put it back on, and then knit it, and then knit 1, knit 2, and then pass the loop over the stitch, knit 1. Okay, Now you can sort of see the stitches are coming through anyway when you're doing it. So what I've been doing is I've been putting my needle through, making sure I put it only through the stitch on the left hand needle, and then just knitting it, and that will drop it down. But if that's, you know, if you're worried about that or worried about losing your loop, then pull the stitch through the loop and put it back onto the needle and do it as the abbreviation says. But I've just found that as quicker, and it gets you into a good rhythm as you're going along. So knit 2. This one's the easy one. You just pass it over and then you knit it. Go through. Yeah, so I'm only through the stitch. Pass it over. Knit 1, knit 2, and then pass the stitch over. And as you can see, it's lost the gathering that it had when you were doing the loop stitches, and all my loops, despite the fact that they didn't look as though they were going to be the same length, are fairly even. The last row rather of the pattern is, well, of the first half of the pattern is just purl. So I'm going to do that because I want to show you the start of the next one. Which I was doing wrong the last time I tried it, and it's made such a difference to how it's come out. So purl across as normal. So this is an 8-row pattern, an 8-row repeat. It's confusing at first because particularly if you haven't ever seen the stitch before, but once you get into it, you sort of do it on automatic pilot, and it's actually quite easy. Okay, so there's my first four rows of the pattern. It's coming up nice and neatly. As you can see, you've got your rows here that you had at the beginning. You don't need to do the 4 stocking stitch rows again. Okay, so the next row 5 is basically a repeat, but you are just let me turn that sound down so that doesn't happen again. You're just doing a repeat, but basically you're moving the elongated stitches across a little bit. So the next instruction is knit 3 and then KE4B to the last 3 stitches and knit 3. So knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're back to your KE4B. Now, this is where I went wrong the last time. Your instinct is to go into that hole there, because that's obviously where you went in before, but it's not. You're still going 4 strands below. So there's 1 strand, there's 2 strands, there's 3 strands. That's your 4th strand. So you're actually going to go into there and pull it up. And then you knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go into the same space that you've just gone into. And then you're back onto the, don't forget you're doing the next one straight away. So 1, 2, 3, there's your 4th strand. So don't make the mistake of going into that hole, and I'll show you why in a second when I finish this row. 2, 3, 4, into the same hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then into the same hole. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you have less let's call them V stitches, yeah, you've got less V's on the second lot of the rows because you're starting with the knit 3 and it just moves everything along again. And that's your pattern. Then you just carry on in the same way you do your slip 1 purl ways, purl 4 slip 1 knit ways, and then you do the SKPO, knit 2 SPPO, but you've got the knit 3 at the beginning. Okay, now let me show you what the difference is between doing it in 3 strands and in 4 strands. So this is my 4 strands, yeah. I went into the same hole that I've just showed you what to do, yeah. This was when I was doing it into 3 strands by mistake, so going into that hole that had been formed. And as you can see, this hole here, I can't actually get my finger through this one, but I can get my finger through this one, yeah. It's a much bigger hole if you put it into the wrong space. So make sure you are counting 4 strands down. This was only basically 3 strands down, and I didn't realise it until I started doing this one. So I think this one is much nicer. Well, of course it is. It's following the pattern as it should be. I'm also going to do a video on how to cast off with the loops. But that will come because this one's already 15 minutes long, rivaling War and Peace. Hope this helps.